Hello boys, welcome to this class. Actually, I had one earlier class yesterday, but it was not properly recorded. So I am again repeating the same unit, that is the computation chemistry. I think you have the basics of computers, hardware and software, some definitions of the internet-related things such as DNS, ISP, DSL, etc. And what is workstation and cloud computing, and then the same unit you have fundamentals of computation chemistry. That includes the semi-empirical ab initio and the TFT, some those techniques. So let me begin with the introduction. I will share the screen where I'm going to work out. So here it is. I think you can see now. Right? So this is the computational chemistry 1. It again, you can just see it. Come and I think you can disable your sound. I'm having some sounds there. So after the class is over, you can enable your mic. Please disable your mic and also video because some data transfer might be. You can mute your mic at least. Okay. Right. So are you able to see? Screen share. Okay. So basically, what you understand by hardware and the software. I would classify them in terms of the languages that the computer can understand. Can you stop? Somebody's mic is disturbing me. Somebody's mic is disturbing me. So language is, you've got lower level language there. Lower level language. And this higher level language. Okay. So what is meant by the software? The software is that which the computer can, the software the computer can understand. Here, this hardware, I am classifying it into basic computer. The basic of this is the central processing unit. Even if you are aware of this, I am just telling how far we have progressed this basically. This consists of the central processing unit, mainly consists of the arithmetic logic unit, the processing unit, processor, and some units there. And here you have this processor is very important. And then the processor, it combines with something like called as the RAM. This is called as the random access memory. And some softwares are there, basically software which you can call it as a binary, which a binary the computer understands only the binary. The binary is any word converted into ones and zeros. For example, if you have your name can appear as something like this: 10110010. And what happens why this is essentially is the computer understands these ones and zeros as one as an electron and zero as no electron. So we deposit these into the semiconducting units. Semiconducting units. These are they began with the silicon dioxide, and then we have so many non-stoichiometric compounds nowadays. Non-stoichiometric compounds. For example, a non-stoichiometric compound is Na2, lanthanum 2.7, yttrium 3.8, lanthanum, that is potassium 6.7, oxide 3.8, something like this. So it comes with the fractional numbers. This I can explain later, but if you ask me. But this is a very good, these have very good semiconducting properties. Why we use semiconducting properties means, semiconductors become good conductors at a higher temperature. Because we need, while working, the temperature of the system rises, and we are making use of that temperature and increasing the conducting capacity of the same. So that is the hardware, and that is how for this we need to write some languages there. This is a language. The language is written in BAS, basic. It is called as the input, output, semiconductor. This BIOS instructs the motherboard. To take up things in certain format. This format is what we have seen in terms of the ones and zeros. So basic input-output semiconductor is basically powered by. So it is powered by battery. I think you might have seen a small CR2032 lithium battery. It comes in the form of a tablet like this. So this is the most basic part of that, and you can see that the hardware is also having so much amount of chemistry, the semiconductor units. The languages, we classify them as higher level and lower level. The lower level is also called as the machine level. Language, because it is only understood by the machines. So if this is very strong, you can move machines. That is how you have got printers, 3D printers, etc. In 3D printers, you can put some raw material, okay, and make out toys. Toys that you design. Okay. That is the lower level language, and that is often very difficult, and is done in the computer manufacturing units that makes uses of the chips and other transistors, diodes, all these things. But in the higher level language, you have to learn something like C, C++, Fortran, COBOL, modest language, and then Pascal, etc. Okay, this is a kind of program. For example, you have to use certain reserved words, certain format, and then some libraries, The libraries are similar to our ordinary libraries where we gather information and then we use it for writing the exams or writing the notes and all these things. Okay. This library comes in the form of certain headers. What is a reserved word? A reserved word is a word that you can use, a word that you can use for specific purpose. Specific purpose. For example, if you use symmetry, symmetry is literal meaning is a uniform thing. Okay. But in chemistry, stereochemistry, we use it only for in stereochemistry we use to define the isomers. Okay. So when you use to define isomers, symmetry becomes a very good reserved word. It is only used to describe the isomers. So likewise, we have so many things in chemistry, C++ and all those things. For example, writing a C program to convert centigrade to Fahrenheit. Okay, 37 degree C is almost similar to 98 degree F. The formula is 9 by 5 into C plus 32 equal to F. This is the formula. Okay. Now you have to calculate it. How do you calculate it? You have to calculate it by using the headers in the C language. Okay. You cannot just begin it by as it is, something like getting introduction and going like this. You have to use certain shapes. For example, a hash to calculate. This becomes very important. Even a space and a dot or a asterisk are all very important. An extra space or an extra stack dot, will nullify the program or make it not workable. So you have to be very careful in using the space. And here I'm going to use here double dagger to do that. So here I'll use asterisk or asterisk to write whatever I want. Instructions are there for me. Okay, that is there. And then to calculate, that is, for example, I can write include stdio.h. Okay, then I can write include some libraries are there. Maths.h. Maths.h is this H stands for a header file. Header file. Okay, it has got all the formula base. It has got all the formula base. So when you have this formula base, you can do the calculations. Now, a specific reserved word is input C, and then you have to put a colon and get C. What is C? C stands for the centigrade. Okay, and then after giving some space, you have to write 9 by 5 into C plus 32 equal to F. Then you have to get F, print F, end. You have to start it like this and then end it like this. So this is a kind of pattern that higher level language understands. Okay. After understanding this, you have to use this C libraries to compile it. Okay, compiling means in music also we call compilation. What happens in the music in the compilation? You write some notes, you draw some tones, and then and then you add some bass, some extra things are added, and then the musician compiles them. When he compiles, then you get a very good song. If something addition goes wrong, the song doesn't get very well. So here you have to know what libraries you have to use, what formula you have to use, how much space, how much reserved words you have to use. All of them you have to use it, and then when you compile it, you'll get something which we call it as the executable file. This executable file is what we sometimes call as the exe file. Exe file that you might have seen in computers. When you double click them, you are installing them. When you double click them, you are installing them. So exe file is usually generated by so much amount of library there, so much amount of your efforts, depending on this. And it is all you have to do it in a flowchart. Plan earlier, and then do a flowchart, and then write a program, compile it, execute it, bring out an exe file, and then distribute it. For example, if you have Zoom there, Zoom.exe is an executable file that has been written using the computer, using C language or Fortran language, and that has got so many options. When you click this thing, this should happen. When you click some tab, something has to happen. All these things are there inside this Zoom.exe. So you call it as a package. Okay. So this is what the most software computers do here. So this is the work of the higher level language, and it is written keeping in mind that the lower level language understands it. The next thing is what we have done for the chemistry here. In the chemistry part, the most celebrated part is that the Schrodinger's equation. Schrodinger's equation is there. Okay, I'll just what we do in chemistry. I begin with something like that. Okay, what is the overall summing up of chemistry? Chemistry talks about stability and reactivity. These are the only two things which you have in chemistry: stability and reactivity. So for that, you need to know the energetics. Energetics is what you use to classify delta H, delta E, delta S, etc., etc. That's so many things. Well, all our periodic table consists of huge data, right? This data is telling you about which is stable and which is reactive, and in essence which is radioactive, etc., etc., like that. Okay, so we are talking about the reactivity. So we have got so many chemical things for which we need to declare the reactivity. The Schrodinger's equation uses the Hamiltonian and wave function and calculates the energy. Here you have got so many factors. What are the factors? The factors are thermodynamic, statistics, biological, etc., etc. All these things you can just input and then calculate the energy. So some basic programs in chemistry are there which calculate this, and then when you give input, output is given in desired format. So that is how presently this Schrodinger's equation is very useful. I'll quote two examples, best examples of this. Okay. Nowadays you have the COVID-19 situation. Okay. What did the computational chemistry do? They first isolated the virus, calculated its molecular weight. Its molecular weight came around 40,000. It's a huge protein amino acid. Okay, it just appears like a dust. The virus appears just like a dust, but it has got so much protein, amino acids, and some DNA, which has got some genetic information. Okay, genetic information. You might have seen that picture that the virus is having like this, like this, like this, like this. Okay. Now, what we did, the computational chemistry did, they found that this is a kind of amino acid here, which is having a molecular weight of about 10,000. It contains an amino acid. The amino acid sequence is A, adenine, guanine, cytosine, tyrosine, uracil. And then it goes on, it goes on. It gets repeated like A, G, U, T, C, like that. Okay. So after that, this particular thing is just like a dust. Dust means lifeless. It has no life at all. Believe me, it is just like a dust, no life at all. Or I can just tell it like a pen drive. You got so many pen drives. A pen drive is useless unless it is fed to computers. Okay. Likewise, this virus is useless unless it has got receptors. Okay. Now, what is the receptor? The receptor is it is called as the ACE2 receptor. ACE2 is angiotensin converting enzyme. This is found in lungs only. And this is got this, we call it as a, chemically we call it as a macromolecule. Macromolecule is again a protein. It has got hydrophobic and hydrophilic parts. The virus goes and attaches itself into this virus, just like pen drive into USB port, right? Just like you put pen drive into the USB port, the virus goes and attacks the receptor. Once it gets, it forms all non-covalent interactions. Non-covalent interaction. What is a covalent interaction? CC bond is a covalent interaction. Na plus Cl minus is electrovalent interaction or ionic interaction. Non-covalent interactions, you'll have light hydrogen bonding, light chlorine halogen bonding with hydrogen, or NH hydrogen bonding, like that. It's very, very weak, very weak. But if you integrate them, but if you join them in thousands or lakhs, they become very powerful. So what did the computation chemistry do? The computation chemistry calculated the structure of this virus in terms of the molecular weight, in terms of the sequence, A, G, C, T, etc. They calculated the receptor where it goes and sits, and we just have to know that it works on the key lock mechanism. Okay. How can you stop the working of that particular virus? Okay. The ACE2 receptor found in lungs is the host. So we have to disable this host. How do we disable this host? Find out a medicine which goes and locks here. Which goes and locks up the receptor. Like going and occupying a seat. If the seat is occupied, or if the USB drive you close it, the virus cannot multiply, and therefore it goes. So it's a kind of vaccine development process is going on. So nowadays, lot of these non-covalent interactions, but I am telling you, all non-covalent interactions, all non-covalent interactions. All non-covalent interactions are calculated by ratio equal to initial. Lot of programs are there. You think the vaccine determination is going to take about another 2 months from now on until the end of the September. But if it was not the computational chemistry, they might not have analyzed the structure of this virus, they might not have analyzed the structure of this macromolecule. Therefore, vaccine could not have been so easy. It might have just taken 1 year, or they might have to do some random calculations. But this computational chemistry has helped to calculate these all non-covalent interactions, establish the structure, calculate the energetics, calculate the shape of that. The shape is very productive like this. So we are going to devise a vaccine which just establishes it, opens up the hydrophobic part, just like what does the soap do. The soap is just capable of splitting the fatty parts. You got some fat, some oil, you put some water, you just clear it, right? The lining of that virus is a fatty part. So the vaccine is devised in such a manner that it just goes and splits up, opens up this virus part. Once it is opened, the virus life is destroyed. The code that is inside there is destroyed. So the computational chemistry has helped us save at least 6 months. It has saved 6 months of time. Otherwise, we are I think Oxford University, AstraZeneca, which are pioneers in medicine in UK. They have entered into third stage of vaccination. How? It's all pure because of computational chemistry. So it doesn't mean that you just ignore some word like computers. Like it is not very much stuff there. You can see back in home, I'm doing my work here right now. So it's a kind of molecular calculation that I'm still doing it. Okay, I'm having a huge porphyrin system. Huge porphyrin system is there. So I'm just calculating there. You can see this. British work is going on there. It is. I just want to say, a lot of work. We don't have to devise anything. Everything the software people have done it. We need a knowledge of chemistry, basic knowledge of computers, how you can apply this chemistry into the that is this chemistry part into the computers. So we need to apply energetics. Energetics means thermodynamics, kinetics, and then if you happen to come across this in the organic chemistry, if you come across this Hammett-Taft equation, Hammett-Taft equation, just remember it. I'll tell you later about this. Hammett-Taft equation in Jerry Marr's book is there in organic chemistry. I'll explain how it's used up there. So I think now I'm getting limitations on Zoom, so the class will start. If you have any doubts there, you can ask me. So today what we have seen is we'll like to sum up some information that we are going to remember is that we have seen starting from hardware and software. In the hardware, we have got CPU, that is central processing unit. It's very important. My CPU that is at the back now, it's costing me about around 80,000 rupees. So I got so much things working in there, and still I got something like this because the memory was very less. I'm getting a 8 GB RAM. This cost me about 4,000 rupees. But I know the value of research, what is happening, how much useful it is there. So it is very much in demand, and it is also again made of silicates. So it's a kind of RAM. 2 models of RAM are purchased, costing about 8,000 rupees. So it's a kind of investment for a kind of research which I am still doing up in the entire days. I just want you to be like that. You need to have a knowledge of chemistry, not only computers. Very good knowledge of chemistry. apply it from one point to another point. And then that is how we build up CPU. In the next class, I'll explain what is a workstation and what is it, cloud computing and all those things. And so we have seen what is BIOS. You need to remember BIOS, the definition, expansion of that basic input-output semiconductor. And then lower level language and higher level language. Lower level language that the computer understands, that is the interface, that is the interface there. Higher level language, all the IT people do it, even I am doing it, and I've done C++ language, and I'm able to make an exe file, I'm able to run a program. I did one spectroscopic techniques, so that if you enter one data, it will give you the functional group that was done by the application of C language with the computers. Okay, so lower level machine, higher level all softwares like C, C++, Fortran, something like that. And then output, just told that it is the form of a, nowadays you got 3D printer. One good example of how 3D printer useful was in France and Spain when people were dying in the streets due to COVID situation. They got a 3D printer which can print out the inhaling units, oxygen inhaling units. You cannot manufacture it, means you'll have, it's like a, in the printing you get print, but in the 3D printer you can get an object like this. You have to take a photo of this, attach a machine, supply the raw material like a plastic, and then when you supply this raw material like a plastic, it starts printing. So 3D printer, it was able to print 600 mass for oxygen printing unit, as I saw. Okay, then I told you about the brief structure of C program, how we write and how we just make the computer understand. And then I told you how compilation gives you the exe file. Without exe file, no window program will work, and we can create an exe file. And then I told you how we enter into HI, HI to calculate the non-covalent interaction. With covalent interaction, we have no problem at all. All bonds, covalent bonds, we study in chemistry. What is the non-covalent interaction in large numbers? Understand this point. In proteins, you have a lot of non-covalent interactions. These non-covalent interactions are causing a lot of problems. Covalent, we already know. Valency of oxygen is 2, carbon valency is 4. It will react only with 4. Non-covalent, you will never know which part will come, where it will react with. 100 non-covalent interactions will not matter. 1000 non-covalent interactions, it can destroy a particular life. To sum up, the hydrogen bonding, if it is not in the air, there won't be any life in the cell. Okay, so I just have told about how this, and then about an example for the ACE2 receptor and how it is useful in drug discovery. I'll tell in the next class about the material science discovery also, and then I asked you to go through this Hammett-Tufte equation. While I studied Hammett-Tufte equation, I thought it was useless, something which was not connected with that. But in MPhil only, I came to know how much useful it is. Very useful Hammett-Tufte equation. These people nowadays in the pharma industry, in this pandemic situation, are making use of those statistics. It has got statistics. It's very useful. Please make a note of that. If you study that, let us join in the next class. And if you have got any questions, you can just ask me here in the chat section.